you must be waiting for your guide. Do you mind if I keep you company for a bit? I'm on my break, and as my mother says, I have the gift of gab. Oh, but where are my manners? Let me introduce myself. My name is Destiny. I'm one of the potential astronauts selected for NASA's next mission. You know, this could be my chance to land on the moon. Now, it's not a done deal just yet, but still exciting. I could be the first Black woman to traverse the satellite of our planet. How did I get here, you ask? It all started back in grade school when I became obsessed with the Apollo 11 mission. Coming from a small town, just thinking about grazing the rocky craters with my hands seems so unreal. At night, as soon as my parents were sound asleep, I would sneak into my dad's study to tinker with his telescope. All I yearned for was to explore that great big pie in the sky. It felt so close and yet so far away. At breakfast, I would use whatever I could get my hands on to mimic the lunar landing. My round cereal bowl was the perfect stand-in for the descent stage. Everyone had to go without spoons. I needed them urgently for the landing gear and pads. I would make clanking noises, imagining what the retractable legs sounded like coming down. Until one day, my father told me that one couldn't hear any sounds in space. Once I made a safe landing, I would play the rest of it out inside my head. I imagined myself watching in excitement as the ladder folded down from the platform to the dusty surface, like a bridge between two worlds. My mother always told me I had ants in my pants as a kid. Even in my fantasies, sitting still was hard, especially when there was a moon rover below, just waiting for me to cruise around in. As a kid, I heard a lot of talk about the Sea of Tranquility, and it made me wonder, was there, at some point in history, an actual sea up there on the moon? Now, I know that the basins that early astronomers mistook for water were created by collisions with cosmic debris millennia ago. The smooth and even terrain of the Sea of Tranquility formed a safe landing space for Apollo 11 and was easier on the wheels of the moon rover. Can you believe that because of this mission, humanity has bits and pieces of lunar matter to study? I may be all grown up now, but the process of gathering those to take back to Earth still sounds like boxing up pure magic. Now that I actually have a chance to make my fantasy a reality, I do a lot more working and a lot less daydreaming. But I have to admit, from time to time, I can't help picturing what it would be like to have my image broadcast back to my home planet. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin have written their names in the book of history when they touched the moon's surface. One small step for man and one giant leap for mankind. Humanity achieved great things on the moon, but did you know that women played a huge part in putting it there? Have a look at the shiny luster of this spacesuit. A team of highly skilled seamstresses, such as Joan Thompson and Anna Lee Minner, were charged with making this gear absolutely perfect.
You got it.
Oh yes, women have been threaded into the fabric of aeronautic history, from each stitch sewn into the spacesuit to every complex space calculation. It's high time to shine the space spotlight in their direction, don't you think? Take Katherine Johnson, for example. She was a talented mathematician who began working at NASA back in 1953. My mother told me how, even as a child, math was Catherine's life. She counted everything around her, from the dishes she washed to the floor tiles she stepped on. Imagine, Catherine was such a math whiz that she started high school at just 10 years old. Once I heard about that, I threw myself into studying. I would huddle up with as many books as I could get my hands on, determined to reach my dream career. I would absorb the knowledge embedded in their pages, science, math, and engineering. Inspired by Catherine's life story, I imagined myself as a plant in the confines of my hometown in West Virginia. If I nurture my mind, I thought, it will keep growing and growing, reaching out toward the light of opportunity. Catherine's hometown didn't offer public schooling for Black American students past the 8th grade, so her family moved roughly 120 miles away so that she could flourish. It turned out to be the right decision. Catherine graduated from high school at 14 and from college at just 18. Still a young girl, she stepped up to the challenge and relentlessly climbed higher and higher in her achievements. Catherine was intent on putting her mind to good use. Her brilliance in mathematics secured her a desk at NASA's West Area Computers, and she joined a pool of mathematicians that performed space equations by hand. Soon, she became part of a talented group of African American women known as human computers. As a kid, I would sometimes picture Catherine settling into work, her mind whirring with theories. For some reason, my own purple rug would also be in that picture, under the legs of her wooden chair. Of course, there would be the ancient adding machine on her desk, a giant unwieldy calculator so different from the laptops and tablets we have today. In the age of Apollo 11, computer systems were just being developed and could fill an entire room. The clackety-clack of Catherine's fingers on those keys must have been heard all the way down the hall. Alas, for a long time, the sound of her hard work fell on deaf ears due to her gender and the color of her skin. But the light inside of Catherine simply refused to be dimmed by the prejudice of others. It was Catherine's ability to push boundaries that allowed her to be seen for the genius that she was and join the prestigious Maneuver Loads branch of the Flight Research Division. Despite being the only woman there, Catherine held her own in meetings, showcasing her unparalleled knowledge in front of the chalkboard. Catherine earned a stellar reputation for her understanding of analytical geometry and her precise calculations. One of my favorite stories about her is this. Before John Glenn was propelled into orbit in 1962, he called in to ask that Catherine double-check the numbers for his mission. It was only when she confirmed they were accurate, he gave the okay to go. In a time riddled with bias, Catherine handled herself with poise and grace, and even a touch of flair with her signature cat-eye glasses. Wearing those very same lenses, she started working on one of the most vital challenges that NASA had at the time, calculating the trajectories to send Apollo 11 to the moon and back. It seemed like a new kind of math was needed, something that hadn't been discovered yet. Catherine thought outside of the box, sifting through algorithms developed in the past to solve the challenges of the future. After being given where and when they wanted the capsule to land, Catherine worked backward to tell them when to take off. A difficult task indeed, but failure was not an option. When one calculation didn't work out, it was sent into the wastebasket to join the other rejected ideas. When I close my eyes, I can envision her staying up late into the night with a steaming cup of coffee, gazing at a model spaceship and trying to find the solution for a safe splashdown. I imagine Catherine turned to the celestial training device many times to identify points in space and align them with those on Earth. Have you ever seen one of those? Just imagine a transparent globe within a globe. Sounds like something from a sci-fi movie, right? Catherine's tireless work and creativity ended up serving a crucial purpose in the space program. The Apollo 11 mission was a success. The astronauts achieved the impossible, left their mark on the moon, and were brought home safe and sound. When you return home tonight, I encourage you to peer at the sky, at that glorious orb that we call the moon. Think of the relentless spirit of one African American woman that not only achieved great things for space, but contributed to shifting attitudes right here on Earth. Besides being my personal hero, Katherine Johnson has been commended with awards of the highest order, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom. What an acknowledgement that must have been for her. And I feel the same sense of glory being a candidate for the upcoming lunar mission. Dear visitor, I'd like to let you in on a little secret. Some time ago, I was able to get my hands on one of Catherine's old notebooks. If I do make it to the moon, I promised myself to bring it with me as a way of honoring her work. Katherine Johnson inspired Black women and other women of color to soar to places they never before thought they could reach. Just like her, I'm a firm believer that adding different hues makes for a beautiful picture. Humanity can achieve greater things by coming together than it can by drawing boundaries. Well, I'm off to another session in the anti-gravity chamber. It's been a pleasure meeting you today. I hope you liked my space stories. Have a great tour, and don't forget to keep your fingers crossed for me. Who knows? The next time you see my face, I might be on the moon.